All right, one and all, welcome back to the AoE4 action. We've got Killjadi versus Beastie on Cliffside. Honestly feels like the battle of the trash, doesn't it? And I'm not talking about the players, calm down, I'm talking about the civs. We've got Abbasid Dynasty versus Order of the Dragon. In fact, if I whip up the stats, I wouldn't be surprised to find both of these in the bottom 4 worst civs of the patch. Let's have a look. Abbasid is third from bottom. Funnily enough, actually, Order of the Dented are near the top. Wait, what? Rogan? All right. I didn't see that coming. Especially the amount of moaning players have been making at the moment. The funny thing is, yeah, Order of the Dragon is at a 58% win rate, but that must be based on the early game then. Because there's a lot of complaint right now coming out of the pro scene about Order of the Dragon as the game goes on. I think that makes sense. 58% win rate makes sense if people are going for Feudal Age finishes. Because I think once you start going into Castle Deep and then you reach Imperial Age, that's where people are just struggling to find a way of winning with Order of the Dragon. We're going to hit the 2x speed, by the way. And I imagine, like, you know, for a player like Beastie, that has to be tough as well because Beastie is very cozy with the idea of going that deep. And typically, when you're matching up against a player like Killjadi, if the game ends early, it's because he's all-inning you, not because you found a way of all-inning him. For those that don't remember Killjadi, very talented Finn. Finn in real life and Finn in the way he likes to approach the game. And that, you know, everything needs to be Finn-ish fast. This is probably one of the most aggressive players to this day, if not the most aggressive player that exists in the game. He genuinely is on par with Vortex in terms of aggression. If I was to rate him on a player card, how aggro he is, he would be an 11 as well. But let's see how he plays the Abbasids, a civ that typically aren't that aggro. He's already going for an aggressive opening with the military wing on the other side of it. We are going to have the Mind Work Palace coming up from Beastie. In fact, dude, how about 4x speed this early? It's literally just going to be tech ups. There's nothing funky being made in terms of choices. Scout-wise, it looks like it's 11 sheep haul for Beastie. Meanwhile, 15 for Killjadi. Of course, he goes on the berries. He doesn't start on the sheep. Other side of this, being Mindwork Palace, this is actually a good start to what I want to see from BC. I think Order of the Dragon, the longer the game goes on, funnily enough, the worse they perform. The only thing that kind of is a nice crutch that keeps them in the game somewhat Castle Age typically ends up being Inspired Warriors. But it seems like we're seeing a lot more success for players by playing all-in and feudal, and I think that's exactly what's on the way here. Beastie already building the first reactors and queuing up the meta arms. And also Undermesh on the way. Archers and Spears have arrived, but there should be some E-repairs to stop any houses from going down. Behind this, Killjadi is on the stone. So this is a pretty typical build for the Abbasids. They always like to go for a second TC, even with military wing. Love the fact that he's condensing it. I'm usually not a big fan of this, but I think when you know it's going to likely be meta arms all in, keeping your entire base together close like this is important. If you try to trickle it out and pull out towards the deer and the berry location, it means these meta arms could cut you off from your main base and easily kill a 2.5k HP structure. But with the defenses here, first men at arms arriving, now you don't have many clear targets, right? Also, the fact that you now have 2 TC close together gives you a phenomenal amount of arrow fire in a small area on the map. And arms barely able to get away from that. In the end, is going to turn around into his death. So first one does go down. Behind this, BC is prepping more. We're going to stick on the 2x speed. Dude, 2x speed is genuinely growing on me. Like, after like casting some Stormgate, watching that pace as well, man, I kind of, like, I'm reminded of what I said a while ago, that it'd be very interesting to see Age of Empires 4 on a 1.4 times modifier. Like, a mod that basically speeds the entire simulation up by 1.4 times. That would be very interesting to watch. Archers now being scaled into, so Killjadi, dude, this is so cool. I actually love this build. It's Camel Archers. Camel Archers that have high base damage and mobility. It means these meta arms should never be able to touch a target. And right now, guess what? BC hasn't changed his script at all. He's literally just a meta arms boy, and that's the worst thing you can be here. You need to get into Gilded Archers. Now with Killjadi going into double archery range, he's going to be able to scale this number quite quickly. Cool thing about this as well is it utilizes what he has access to well. Right? Yes, Camel Archers still cost a lot of food, but they also cost a decent amount of wood. And with the TC on the wood line, that's exactly what you can afford to give. Garrison comes in. Going to be a full seat shelter as Camel Archers. Did chase after the flank Gilded Men at Arms here. No micro coming out from Killjadi, though. Not ideal in this situation. Villagers are going to have to run for their lives in a second. More archers are now arriving, at least. Looks like a backstab comes in under the gold. As it looks like Killjadi needs to actually get a blacksmith up soon, because right now, having no steeled arrow here, even with the high base damage Camel Archers, is hurting you. Villagers are going down, so it looks like so far 4 killed by BC. But a heavy price paid here. I mean, the thing you have to keep in mind, the kind of really weird, funky feeling about this is like every time you lose a men-at-arms as the Order of the Dragon, think I've lost a knight. Because that's what you've lost in raw cost, right? So like if you're killing a villager and then losing a knight, it's not really a great trade, is it? That's essentially what's happening here. So far he's lost like what? I think it was 4 men-at-arms in total. He killed another villager, but it's probably once again going to be 1 villager killed and 1 men-at-arms lost. I think one big mistake here from Killjadi that I don't like is no textiles. It is finally on the way, but this should have been here much sooner. So he'll be able to cut them down though. Beastie, only 3 men-at-arms left alive, and now with 5 camel archers, you've got a transition. Looks like he's already prepping for it. Steeled arrow being researched. Archery range drop now on the way. Janissara, I would debate that the current like speed of the game is super fast. I don't think that's necessarily true. It's really the difference between game being full macro focus to be micro focus. Because if it was a 1.4 speed multiplier, I think like you moving and misclicking, or you being out of position, or you just not making a good rotation gets punished quicker, right? I think I talked about this before. Like even in game, think about the situations where you need to move. You need to move at X pace, but like for example, let's say you've got Spimmin here, and I raid here. You have to move the Spimmin straight away to block my move as I rotate. But if you don't, let's say like you wait 3 seconds, it's already too late. You already know I'm going to get in. But then the process of you watching me get in takes so long, doesn't it? Like that's always been something that's been interesting about the design of AoE 4. You do have to make these reactions early, but the time it takes for you to reap the pain of be punished for your mistake or whatever it may be can often feel like it takes quite some time. These Gilded Archers are taking quite some time to come out though. First one only now being queued up. Blacksmith now already on the way. I say already, we're 11 minutes in, right? But it's finally going to be there in time. Probably get undermeshed for the transition. These men-at-arms have, I'd say, failed to do what they needed to. He's lost over 7 at this stage, right? Like, just look at the destroyed value. He's only killed 7 villagers. Killjadi is now 12 eco ahead. And although the Order of the Dented villagers are more efficient, this doesn't make up for how powerful the Abbasids are on eco, right? Remember, even though there's a 28% increased efficiency on the villagers, the Gilded villagers, on the flip side, the Abbasids do have their tier 1 gathering rate. So they've got a 15% increase there. It really does offset this argument that you just have to add a raw 30% onto the Order of the Dragon. Outpost is going to go up in time, so it looks like the men-at-arms will not be able to deny this. But I say that. The villagers are going to have to 100% run here. Remember, this is essentially 10 men-at-arms with torches, is the way you have to think about this. Gilded Archer will not be able to kill anyone. Me on the other side of it, though, Gilded villagers are in a bit of a pickle. One will be able to bull away here. Looks like the other one will not be so lucky in the wall. Wait, did it go up? Looks like it did, just in the nick of time there. So Killjadi will be kept out from that side, but already leaking in from the east here with extra camels. Killjadi, man, there's no way he's just going to boldly go non-stop camel now, right? Like, you've seen Gilded Archer spam, you need to transition. Horsemen will work really well here. Horsemen just destroy the Gilded Archers. If you try to do Gilded Archer versus Camel Archer, you're going to have a bad day. But still, he needs to get more camels, at least for the remaining men-at-arms, right? Villagers are in a bit of trouble here. Have to run away. The camel count is just non-stop. This is such a funky way of dealing with this, but it's actually really cool. I love the read by Killjadi. I think this is the correct approach to what is a very popular play right now for Order of the Dragon, which is all in men-at-arms spam. This is the counter. I think if BC had prepped archers sooner, read what this play was going to be, then he actually could have stopped the camel archer count from getting high enough to ruin the men-at-arms. But now, these trades are just getting terrible, man. I mean, he's killed 11 workers in total. He's lost 3 in response. That's bad enough. When you consider the destroyed value, though, you want to vomit. This is looking pretty tough. Gilded Archer count should be high enough that it can hold choke points now. Like, I think Killjadi, once again, is a bit overzealous now at this stage. You need to change away from this unit type. Just to catch the scout. So well played there. That means the BC's now going to be playing a blind game on the flanks. Doesn't really know what he's up against. Has been playing on the flanks with the boar, by the way. I think he's done that with both of them, right? So Pretty standard read here for BC. We've been seeing him do this a lot on Cliffside, regardless of the Civ. I think it is the right read. I like this approach. Risky up against Camel Archers, but very efficient with Order the Dragon because you only need one outpost to defend against an entire army of camels. Oof. That was an expensive dive. And kind of an unnecessary one. He idled out the wood line a little bit here, but wood isn't Killjadi's issue. Food is. Archer's now reaching around, but love the read by Killjadi. Double outpost setup. He has got 12 villages out here, so a little bit of overflow, but most of the eco will be protected. And that eco lead is truly starting to be realized, and I love this. Killjadi, he goes for the trade. He says, okay, you want to attack my eco? My turn. He catches the reinforcing troops before they can fight back, and now he can roam towards the pocket ecos. 4 villages out here. Beastie not pulling them back. Meanwhile, rotating towards the extra berries, but already additional outposts going up there as well from Killjadi. Great defense here. The Gilded Archers, remember, at this stage in the game, they don't have the scale lever. They don't have +3 ranged armor. They only have 1. And although they're incredibly tanky at 125 health, it doesn't matter against this much arrow fire. And arms will at least be able to burn through one of these outposts, so more villagers going down, but I think the problem is starting to be written on the walls here for Beastie. Limited access to anything outside his primary TC. This Camel Arch account is surprisingly scary at this stage in the game. Behind this, I believe Killjadi is also building up a new wave of camels that can start dealing with the few men-at-arms that are left over. Which there are really not many, folks. There's one roaming over to a triple outpost setup now. That's not going to end well for him. Gilded Archers are diving the TC again, but it just doesn't feel great. Once again, this whole idea of like, okay, what did you trade for? Okay, well, we killed a villager. Oh, okay, well, we lost a Gilded Archer. Is that worth it? Maybe just about, but then if you lose 2 Gilded Archers to kill a villager, it's 100% not. It's 160 resources per Gilded Archer, 320 resources. We always say that a knight dying for a villager isn't worth it, and they cost 240 resources. So it says everything it needs to, and the camels are now in! Look how much easier that trade was. Gets 3 worker kills compared to that dive that I think got 2. Even if it got 3, it's not worth again. And all the while, like the idle time that's being mirrored here, just a great read. I think there's plenty of players that would have seen what BC was doing, and they would have just went horseman and defended. I actually advised it, but Killjadi's read to just go and trade was fantastic here. This game getting ever more difficult now for Beastie. No signs of teching up in the future for him. Camel Archers are still denying equity on the flanks. And it feels like his Vanguard force are getting weak and limited now. Okay, is this game legitimately just going to be a camel-only challenge? Because so far that's exactly what it is, guys. He's built nothing but villages and camels. I would love for this game to end on just camels. I'd pay money for that. Dude, against BC as well, a very talented player, consistently at the top of the leaderboard. It's not the type of win that's easy to get, but right now it's what Killjadi's heading towards. I believe he's also heading towards maybe a 3rd TC here. A lot of stone has been gathered. 3 TC is pretty interesting, but I think if you can secure some wood lines with it, it makes a lot of sense for a farm transition being prepped afterwards. In fact, those farms are already coming in from Killjadi. Look at this, army goes on the offensive again. Now, he's going to see there's nothing on this wood line, but that should make it very apparent where the resources are being gathered right now. The one upside of being BC in the situation is you don't have much eco because like you don't build as many as other civs, and also you've been losing some. So it's maybe a bit easier to condense and defend. But camels, being as fast as they are still going to find ways in. In fact, they're already on the prowl checking the pocket resources. So there's 3 men-at-arms, 20 Gilded Archers. Oh my dick. Well, BC has the answer to that, folks. Ram now being built up by the OOTD. A quadruple outpost defense. When was the last time you saw someone build this many outposts on a berry patch? Oh, and apparently people are starting to starve a little. We can't afford camels anymore, says Killjadi. It's time for archers, all right? We're in the middle of a recession here. Dive onto the eco line in the meantime. Looks like BC is going to find some decent value here. Gilded Archers continue to die. Meanwhile, the Camels are not doing the same, so this is just a one-sided trade right now. But the Ram was left on his own! Oh no, Kiljardi, what a sick move there, not to overreact. Although right now, Goldfish reactions on the eco line will finally seek shelter. This is painful though, Beastie, you can't dive this type of area anymore. He did get a good trade on those villagers in the end, so that was well played. But it looks like he did get fined in response here. 2 villagers go down on the deer location, 3 remain. Beastie, he's keeping this close though, man. You got to give him a lot of credit for this. 78 versus 20 military. This is getting worrisome. Kiljardi finally realizing that actually Horseman has to be the answer. Has queued them up. So it's not going to be camels only. Although in fairness, you know, still feels like it was a camel only game for a lot of this. New ram has been built up in the meantime by Beastie. Outpost is going to get assaulted. Only 2 villagers here. So this wouldn't be a quick kill on the ram even if he could do it. I gotta give it to him, man. Beastie, this game looked like it should have been over, but I think Kiljardi, he got a little bit too cute in this game, man. Way, way, way too long going into camels only. And he's starting to suffer for it. I'm also worried that Kiljardi is about to run out of food. Like, he set up some farms, sure, but like this doesn't feel great. On limited wood, the amount of wood you've been putting into camel archers already with food, now going 3 TC as well, like, there's going to be a weak point where you have to spam in so many farms. So he needs to actually find a good trade to cover that, because Beastie right now has a 3x military pop advantage. Doesn't have it here, though. Main army gets engaged. Camels cut him off. Horsemen are in as well. And that is the trade we were looking for. Kiljardi finds what he needs. Beastie losing the bulk of his forces here. And behind this, what does he really have, right? Like, he doesn't actually have a tech up prep. He doesn't have a second wave in position to punish. Instead, Beastie is unable to keep the pressure up, and Kiljardi is now unleashed to full farm his way into a late game economy. Second wave's going to die. Are you kidding me? How many outposts has he built now? He's up to 8. Before that, like, he was up to, what, 10? That's crazy, man. The outpost defense is so crafty here. You know, once again, it's kind of a funky scenario. Like, imagine if Beastie had saved a bit more resources and was on his way to Castle Age. Like, let's say that fight happens after he has the Dragon Scale armor. That's actually a big deal. I don't know why I think it used to be called Dragon Scale armor. Now it's just called Scale armor. But having that +3 here, that takes away 25% of the Camel Archer's damage. Right, that's a substantial DPS decrease for them. Then you add in the fact that you're going to get Castle Age tech. It's incredibly powerful. Big shout out to Salty's guy. I see you coming in with the 5 gifted. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much for the support, man. And welcome you 5 members to the Swarm. Right now, this Swarm is brewing, though. This is growing. Horseman, Camel Archer count going up. I do see that Beastie's going into Spears, but that doesn't bode well. Remember, these Camel Archers do get double damage versus Spearmen still. So, basically, Kiljardi just needs to kite. He needs to bait the Spearmen forward the line and then poke into them with archers, and then it's easy clap. Now, you could say it's true for both players that there's kind of this poke and prod and this bait of the melees in range. But the difference is that for Kiljardi, he can disengage quicker. He has cav versus infantry. So Beastie needs more, and he's looking for it now. Dives onto the 3rd TC, torches out. I love this. Remember, this is double the torch power, so he doesn't actually just have a mere 14 units here. He has 28 torches to take this down. 2nd TC will not survive. In fact, it's kind of more powerful than that if you think about it, right? So, like, you have all this torch damage, but per torture, if you were to spread this torch damage thinner, if you were to take the, for example, 21 torch damage, reduce it to what it's meant to be, which is meant to be, like, what, 10 at this stage? Or 13. And then you spread it across those units, they would be losing half their torch damage to the fire armor. Because the base damage of each of these torches is higher, you're losing less damage mitigation. It makes it a bit more effective. So, cool detail there. But look at this, Kiljardi. Even though he loses the TC, even though he's now losing control of the outpost area, he's on his way up into Castle Age. Beastie, backstab now coming in. Spearman count. He's been targeting him down with the static defenses. There's not many here. Oh my god, there's only 2 spears! That's going to be a loss again. Beastie's going to lose the entire army once more. Camel Archers being targeted down by the Reigning Gilded Archers, but they've done what they needed to. Men-at-Arms count is shrinking. What a read there. Kiljardi times it right, uses the static defenses to reduce the spearman numbers further, and then pounces on his target. Beastie, once again, losing the backbone of his army. That backbone's getting broke like he is Batman, and he's facing off against Bane here. Kiljardi says, oh yeah, nice feudal age army, but I'm not hanging around for it any longer. It's time for Castle. 35 seconds out. Food income is stable now, remember. A lot of this is coming off a farm, so it's never truly going to exhaust. On top of that, he has got access to the remaining deer on the right side if he ever so chooses. And now, with the way that BC's played a more condensed style and thrown away so many troops, he doesn't have a blocker for the wood lines on the back side. So Kiljardi is going to get what he needs. He's going to find value here as well. Villagers on the flank are going to get stabbed down. So that's going to be 4 more villager losses for Beastie. We're now in a game where he's killed 43 eco, lost 16, yet he finds himself facing a daunting task here. An Abbasid player in Castle Age with a 40 eco advantage. Beastie now needs a tech up fast. New army's on the way, but now they have to dive around the right side. The walls went up on the left, so they don't have a quick access. They have to go past the static defenses. Spearman count, 7, 2 gilded men-at-arms. I mean, this should be enough to start torching through these buildings, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny here. Triple arrow slits defense actually does sting for those spears. Has to back on up. Regnitz is now on the way. Beastie still has something to play for in this game, but he needs to find some eco snipes, but he's not going to get an opportunity to keep up from Kiljardi. And that is all of a sudden the way through, the optimal quick route for this infantry force removed. Let's go through the front door. And that's not going to get easy. By the time he's through the first layer, the defenses are going to be up. Kiljardi already scaling into Lancers and Ghoulems here. Those are 2 things that BC doesn't have a great answer for. The Lancers can just kind of kite you and go for the Gilded Archers, dodge the Spearman out, Spearman count that's being reduced. And the Ghoulems will shred everything else. I love the way Kiljardi's approaching this as well. It's like, okay, it sucks to be losing some of this stuff, but kind of a necessity to get the defense together. If he jumps too soon, if he gets in this fight before he's got the ample forces, he will lose. So he's waiting behind it. Mangonels also now being built up. Camel Archer veterancy is also coming in. And BC has to know he can't get more out of this, right? Like, he can't look to dive too far. I think taking out this infrastructure is a smarter approach. If he went for the primary, he'd be in trouble. But taking out these stables slows down the reboom for Kiljardi. And also gives him cover fire for his own play, right? Like, he just built Regnitz. He needs to start picking up relics. I don't like the fact he built the Regnitz back here, though. Honestly, it should have been on the front side. You want to just prioritize the timing on picking up all these relics. There's so many close to the front area that you can access. Feels like it's going to take him a lot longer now because of it. Round finally gets cleared up. Kiljardi ready to fight. Mangonels moving out. And this army, although it is smaller in quantity than what BC's fielding in terms of pop, it's much stronger right now. The Mangonels are completely unanswered for BC. His entire army gets countered by this. There's no quick transition towards that issue, right? Like right now, he's spending extra golden prelates. On top of that, he doesn't have enough wood. No siege workshops. Actually could be the undoing of Beastie here. Oh man, this is not good. Upgrades coming through for Kiljardi. He breaks through. Outpost. Even if you E-repair, it's not going to last long enough. Just too many torches. It's still going to go down, isn't it? He tries to get the Spruan placement in, but even if it completes, it's going to last, what, maybe 10 seconds? If that. Grim Mango's now hitting on the racks. He repairs, running out in, I think, about 5 seconds here, and it's gone. House is now being targeted. BC, he has built additional houses, so he's not going to drain himself dry immediately because of that, but I do see a world in which he's not going to be able to get the army together fast enough here. Veterancy upgrade is coming through the men-at-arms. He's building into Gilded Crossbowmen now, but this army feels uncontestable without anti-siege. Mangonels, as is often the case right now, being the undoing of an opponent. Marketplace also taken out, so no more tradesies. Beastie has got the stone for a keep. He's going to look to rush up a strong point defense here. It might be the one thing that can keep him in this game long enough to realize Castle Age. Right now, relics are also being contested. 1 on the way home for Kiljardi compared to the 2 for Beastie. Flank relic should also be accessible, so we might be looking at a 3-2 relic game. That's a big edge for BC, one that he needs here, considering the eco lead that Kiljardi has built up. Slight reset for Kiljardi. Wouldn't be surprised if we see like double ram here, just start blunting the base quicker. Love the fact he just keeps going after houses though. Like, you have to realize that although there's still this breathing room of 35 pop, now 25 for Beastie, for the Order of the Dragon, it's really deceptive because each unit you produce is taking 2 military. You very quickly lose the breathing room of extra housing. Castle has at least now been revealed. Farms are going to start getting idled out here. Beastie's eco doesn't look great on the food count. Like, that's actually really concerning. Practically everything he builds is going to take a lot of food to field. And also, because he's now prioritizing into food a little bit harder, it means he doesn't have the wood for the siege we were talking about before. I mean, that's still actually my biggest concern in this game is, how are you killing siege? Are we thinking Bodkin bolts? Because Bodkin bolts, I don't believe in it. Like, I think it takes too long to reach the mangonels. Unless you've got like 20 gilded crossbows. But to have 20 gilded crossbows, just think of the ramifications on your economy there. They cost 160 food each. That's 3,200 food. So he still needs to spend an extra 2,400 food to get there. The price of an Imperial Age tech up. That's a lot. And all that just to counter what? 2 mangonels that cost a mere 600 resources each. Another issue is if you don't have siege, you don't have a counter to this. Kiljardi's going for a keep crawl. Villagers also get found on the flank. Oh no, and his camel archers, there's no getting away from that. Beastie losing a huge chunk of his economy here. His hopes of getting more static defenses up is shrinking alongside his eco. Prelate also getting it found, trying to shift out onto the flanks here. I don't think these villagers are getting away. I mean, the Lancers are just going to cut them off and cut them down. So there you go. What was that? 8 villagers, 9 in total, I believe, going down like that. Army's at least going to be able to react now, but it's cavalry. You're now just chasing after your own tail. You're never going to catch it. Meanwhile, Kiljardi now up to 1,100 stone. Siege workshops being prepped. There should be like a double keep drop at this pacing, which is disgusting to think about because Beastie will not have any answer to that. And oh my dear God, he's actually going Imperial. Wow, 46 farms complete. Trade wing now on the way. I mean, this is... I don't know how Beastie now wins. This is too late. Like, the window of opportunity is shrunk. He doesn't have an answer to the keeps. The keeps are going to slow him down by an extra 2 minutes at least. So that means full Imperial techs are going to be realized for Kiljardi. This feels like close to GG. Golems are going to block the melee line charging in. Mangonels not being answered here, folks. One Springwood is not going to cut it. You can see Kiljardi just keeps repairing it. Clash of the armies. Prelate healing is helping out a little bit, but Crossbowman shredding through the remaining men-at-arms, and the keep will start sniping down what remains. I mean, this is it. This game is done. I would not be surprised if BC just calls GG the moment the tech up completes. With 800 food income, a lack of surplus farms to get him up there as well. Only 16 farms in total. There's no denying that this game is all Kiljardi's. Oh, dude, he's even finding more eco. I love how start to finish in this game, Camel Archers have played a kind of pivotal role. It shifted towards a raid-oriented role as the game went on, but make no mistake about it, one of the weakest units, one of the crappiest units in the eyes of many players who play Abbasids has been pivotal to Kiljardi winning this game from start to finish. Speaking of that finish, I think we might be about to see it here. 10 seconds out from Trade Wing being complete. Beastie's army not in a position where it's going to break any of these defenses. You already saw that there's some lock-ins on the outposts on the goals to stop additional gold gathering from Beastie. And even with 3 relics, like, you know, these comps that you run with Order of the Dragon require a lot more gold than that. Camel Archers are at least going to get cut down. Remember that Siege Workshop on the front also allows them to get into bombards or culverins. And, you know, this is now an issue again. Like, this game has been defined in the last few minutes by BC's inability to access or answer Siege. And it's about to remain that way. Because now you have to worry about Shudder triggers, you have to worry about culverins. You can't rely on Springwoods here. Like, actually, if Kiljardi just builds 2 culverins, your entire army is held hostage. Kind of surprised he hasn't built them yet, actually. Guess he's just looking to flood instead. Doesn't feel like it's a concern in his eyes. I can kind of see where it's coming from, right? Like, if you just get elite Ghoulems, you don't actually care as much as you normally would about, like, mangonels. Stone gathering in this area. Oh, BC looking to make a move, but Killjardy sliding on in here for a keep drop. Not going to work out, though. Spirals will be able to snipe out the few villagers in the area. So nice detail there. Unfortunately, you just exposed your entire base. Oh, no. I think that's it. I mean, he has nothing to defend against his Ghoulam right now. It's only a few Ghoulam, but the idle time, the eco kills. Any losses here are too many losses for Beastie. And you've still got more troops wrapping around the backside. Army's going to try to break into the main economy of Killjardy, but I mean, that might be their final move to make here. The Mangonels could easily backstab this. He's trying to cut reinforcements, but I think he's just losing too much at home. The Spearman to answer Ghoulam just doesn't feel great here. Yeah, you've got Langsneck, but Langsneck, once the double strike starts hitting into them, they'll die fast. Nami is now reacting. Ghoulam's with the backstab. Spiral's way out of position here, means the Mangonels are going to get some free shots. I think this is over. Nice attempt at a dodge there. Does start to snipe out the Mangos, but the Culverin making quick work of the Springolds. And this is over. GG comes out. Sick hold coming out from those Camel Archers, but even Beastie showing you that the late game is still a critical question mark for the Order of the Dragon, one that usually ends with a quick death for them.